Farm Week is a production of the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Today on Farm Week, one of Mississippi's major volunteer organizations that promotes conservation met recently in Jackson.
Growers heard that irrigation water shortages could be in the future for some portions of the Mississippi Delta.
In Southern Gardening, plant some pockets of color to brighten up your winter landscape.
In the markets, rice prices may be putting in a bottom, while new numbers may boost cattle prices. John Michael Riley has analysis.
In the feature segment, a program that encourages young people to be around firearms. It's called 4-H Shooting Sports. This popular program is attracting both young people and adult volunteers. The program teaches self-discipline and how to handle firearms safely.
I'm the oldest girl, so I have to be responsible for all my siblings, and even just going to practices and trying to be a leader and encouraging people when things aren't going right and you're not hitting the target, being able to encourage them and help them even if you can't tell them what they're doing wrong. So there's definitely leadership skills.
Good day, everyone. I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Artis Ford. Welcome to Farm Week.
If you start naming some of the top volunteer organizations in Mississippi, its name doesn't readily come to mind.
Well, Leighton, it is, however, a major force in conserving natural resources and promoting environmental education in Mississippi. Last year, its volunteers gave more than 9,500 hours of their time in pursuit of these goals. I'm talking about the Mississippi Association of Conservation Districts. It held its annual meeting recently in Jackson.
If you're in any type of production ag, whether it be row crop or livestock, whatever it is, the district can assist you in finding a program that will make your farm a better farm.
Volunteers and supporters of Mississippi's 82 soil and water conservation districts came together to reaffirm relationships, but also to learn new ways to conserve the state's natural resources and to educate state residents about conservation. Local soil and water conservation districts were created in the 1930s. They're an integral part of helping the Natural Resource Conservation Service of the U.S. Department of Agriculture to help landowners to adopt soil and water conservation practices.
Because this was a recommendation of the president at that time, because they saw, once they had it's the old Soil Conservation Service, they realized that they could not give the delivery of conservation onto the private lands in America without some local contact. And so this model of a conservation district organization in each state was developed on the national level.
Conservation districts are necessary for a community, a county, a state, or a nation to be strong. They have to have clean water, good land to grow, be able to feed themselves and clothe themselves.
Soil and water conservation districts are funded mostly by county and city governments. The districts employ a conservationist, but practically everyone else is a volunteer. Many volunteers join the Earth Team, coordinated by the USDA's NRCS. In 2001, 557 Earth Team volunteers in Mississippi worked more than 9,500 hours. That's equivalent to more than 3 years of 8-hour workdays. Many hours were spent teaching conservation to Mississippi school students. The MACD conducts statewide conservation poster and essay contests. It awards 6 college scholarships. Conservation districts also work to solve soil and water problems in cities and counties. For example, tornado-devastated Smithville, Mississippi, has benefited from federal funds and grant money obtained through the efforts of the MACD and the NRCS.
And through the work of our district and NRCS, we've spent almost $500,000 there cleaning up the ditches and streams in that city. So we're very proud of that effort, and we're now in the process of putting in trees for the city that were donated from a South Mississippi nursery.
I don't get paid anything for any of my, I do this because I love the land that God gave us and the natural resources.
Now go to our Farm Week website if you're interested in volunteering with your county soil and water conservation district. That's farmweek.msucares.com.
The 39th edition of the Delta Ag Expo took place last week in Cleveland, Mississippi. The prime commodity of what was the state's first regional farm show has always been information, and the 2012 version was no different. Educational seminars featuring extension, research, and industry professionals provided the latest research-proven information to assist producers. And the exhibits, both outside the Bolivar County Expo Center as well as inside, gave farmers and those just interested in agriculture an opportunity to find out about the latest technology, products, and services. The Expo's first seminar focused on a topic that's been given a lot of attention in the last year or two in the Delta: increasing irrigation needs and declining water resources. One official warned producers that there are tough decisions to be made and that some changes are coming as far as water management in the Delta.
Nobody wants to say no, but if we don't figure out some way through conservation, water supplies, to come up with a way to balance these water budgets, you know, it's not that many decades out that somebody may not have the water they need because of the depletion of the groundwater. And that's maybe the last thing we want, is to have that happen.
We will have more from the Delta Ag Expo in coming weeks. The Expo is co-sponsored by the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Do you think having landscape color is difficult during the cooler months? Well, in this week's Southern Gardening segment, Extension horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman will show us how planting pockets of color can brighten the winter landscape.
During the winter months, it's difficult to have the entire landscape full of color. Today I'm at my friends Sandra and Joel's in Ocean Springs, where Sandra uses sunny spots to add pockets of color for winter interest. Approaching the front of the house, you can't help but notice the circular drive. Contrasting hardscape textures of distressed brick and earth-toned pea gravel frame the sunny front bed. Sandra has used a mixture of woody and herbaceous plants. Sonnet snapdragon and matrix pansy are good choices along with ornamental kale. Raspberry Blast Supertunia adds a pink punch. The pink is repeated with the Mississippi Medallion winner Shishigashira Camellia. Dwarf Abelia is a good green foundation. The new foliage emerges a muted pink. Antique planters by the front steps repeat the Sonnet Snapdragon and Matrix Pansy combination. At the side door, pink camellias greet visitors. In the backyard pool area, Sandra continues the idea of pocket color. She has colorful sweet potato vine and planters that will need protection when the temperatures are frosty. By the pool house, Sasanqua Camellia adds splashes of color. So take advantage of sunny spots to create pockets of color in your winter landscape. I'm Gary Bachman for Southern Gardening.
Gary says to take advantage of the sunny spots to create those pockets of color. In the feature segment today, young people with bows and arrows and guns. Well, that would be considered dangerous in some parts of the country, but here the young people are learning gun and archery safety, plus they're having fun to boot. Time now for the markets with Leighton, and there's one crop there seems to be no shortage of, and that's wheat.
That's right, Ernest, and we'll talk about what the abundant stocks of wheat mean and if that could change. Also this week in the markets, new numbers are expected to confirm there are fewer cattle in this country. Rice prices may have a bottom, and U.S. grain exports pick up. The USDA released its biannual cattle inventory report Friday afternoon, one day after this edition was recorded. Analysts polled by Reuters expect that the report will show a beef herd that is still shrinking in number and is likely to be the smallest since 1952. Extension Ag economist John Michael Riley discussed this information as well as the recent on-feed report with me on Thursday this week. John Michael, let's talk newest to oldest this week, beginning with this new cattle inventory report came out Friday. We are recording this prior to that, but if what we think, the information that a shrinking herd is still confirmed in that, what could that mean for prices in this sector?
Well, it's just going to, the underlying fundamentals are going to lead to steady to higher prices. We've talked about a reduction in the total supply of cattle, which trickles through the system to lower supply of beef. That pushes prices up, of course, if demand remains constant. But the shrinking herd is expected, especially given the drought-stricken southwest portion of the United States. You know, that's the cow herd is expected to drop about 2.5%, which is the lowest. If you look across the range of numbers for all the different categories, that's one of the biggest hits is in the beef cows and beef heifers retained to be put in the herd. That's expected to drop the most. If we see that, then yes, the supply will continue to dwindle over the next number of years, and that's going to should lead to steady to higher prices at the least.
And of course, for meat packers, they're in the middle of all this as well. This situation that they really don't have any control over.
That's correct. You know, they deal with ups and downs, but overall, the herd is going to definitely lead to a tighter supply.
All right, let's back up 1 week to that last cattle on feed report, monthly report. What did that say as far as placements and on feed?
Well, the placements was finally one that we saw where this tighter supply of shrinking herd kind of was noticeable. The drought conditions really pushed a lot of cattle into feedlots as we closed out 2011, a lot more than we would have expected. But this past report, we saw placements down about 6%, which was mostly expected, right in line with expectations. It's the first substantial reduction in placements year over year since the May placements, which would have been the June report. So we are starting to see this reduction of total cattle supplies start to hit the feedlots.
All right. So to kind of recap here, a tight beef supply for how long? Any idea here? It could be a while.
Well, definitely it's going to be a while. We are seeing, you know, inflows of cattle from Mexico, which is allowing feedlots to fill the gaps. But the cow herd is not one that you're going to overcome shortly. It's going to take at least 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 years to really start build the herd back up.
And yet we've got exports climbing very strong in the midst of this declining supply.
The silver lining, the exports in 2000 for the coming year expected to exceed last year, which we're back above 2003 pre-BSE levels.
Another sector of livestock is the subject for this week's trivia quiz on Farm Week. How much of U.S. poultry production, chicken in other words, is located in Mississippi? Is the answer 5%, 10%, 20%, or 30%? I'll tell you in a few more minutes.
We're going to pause for a short break on Farm Week. Coming up, we'll look at the calendar and the second part of the markets. Leighton Spann reports the bottom may be in for rice prices, while there appears to be no shortage of wheat. In the feature segment today, 4-H shooting sports in Mississippi. This program helps young people learn self-discipline and how to handle firearms safely.
Each year, many Mississippians are seriously injured or killed when farm tractors overturn. Don't become a statistic. Avoid rollovers by staying away from steep ditches and pond banks. Slow down and operate tractors at a safe angle to the slope of the terrain. Always keep loader buckets low when transporting materials and inspect the work area for obstacles such as stumps, holes, or washes. A message from the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Before we get back to the markets, let's look at the Farm Week calendar. Mid-America Farm Publications is producing its 15th annual Ag Production Conference. It takes place on January 31st and February 1st. Cotton, rice, and corn and soybeans will be covered, as well as precision agriculture. The location is Harris Casino Convention Center at Tunica. Registration fee is $174. Anyone interested in getting involved in therapeutic riding is urged to attend a meeting on Tuesday, February 7th in Jackson. Mississippi's Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship will host the meeting at 1 p.m. in the Equine Center at the Mississippi Fairgrounds. The meeting is open to members and individuals considering an equine therapy program in their area. Topics will include starting and sustaining a program, instructor certification, and local program updates. Go to our Farm Week website at farmweek.msucares.com for information on these and other events. Now check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
rice advocate from the U.S. Rice Producers Association is reporting that analysts think a bottom is being put in as far as that market's prices. Traders note that Asian prices are stabilizing and that local production is starting to realize the lack of potential for next year's crop. Analysts seem to believe that sideways movement may be the bill of fare for the next few weeks. However, there does seem to be a feeling that at some point the rice market should go back up. Wheat contracts were able to post solid gains on Wednesday from support of the lower U.S. dollar, according to DTN. However, analyst Elaine Cubb is less than enthusiastic about near-term prospects for wheat. In fact, she says there is not a whole lot you can say bullish as far as the wheat market right now.
Globally, you're talking 30% stocks-to-use ratio. In the U.S., you're talking a 41% stocks-to-use ratio. We have no shortage of wheat. The futures spreads are very wide. Between the March and the May contract in Chicago is 21 cents. That's effectively 10.5 cents of carry per month for the next, months in spring. Basis is very wide. The spread between corn and wheat is also, wheat is actually trading at a discount to corn, which you would never expect in a feeding world where protein should be worth something.
After weeks of inactivity, the pace of U.S. grain exports has picked up, according to DTN. 500,000 metric tons of corn sold over the past weekend, and reportedly a number of soybean cargoes, perhaps up to 1 million metric tons, were reportedly sold to China. Reports indicate the downsizing of crops in Argentina and Brazil due to weather seems to have kicked some export business back to the U.S. Another positive for American sales is that it appears both Russia and Ukraine have reduced the amount of grain they will export. Thursday morning, cotton futures were trading slightly ahead despite new dips in the weekly export sales numbers. Also this week, the USDA reported U.S. all cotton gin through mid-January was trailing the year-ago level by nearly 16%. Fast-paced harvesting of this season's cotton crop in most areas has facilitated ginning and classing, according to new reports. We will now close out going back to the subject of Chikia and our trivia answer. 10% of U.S. poultry production is located in Mississippi. B is the right choice of all these possible answers.
In today's feature story segment, a report on a Mississippi 4-H program that some see as dangerous, but it actually promotes safety. More than 300,000 young people in the United States and Mississippi participate in 4-H shooting sports. 4-H volunteers work tirelessly at teaching young people how to safely operate firearms and archery equipment. The 4-H youth develop life skills, learn about facing challenges, and have fun at the same time. Farmweek's Amy Taylor reports.
Many young people in 4-H shooting sports might not be able to tell you exactly why they love it so much. Perhaps it's the thrill of that first bullseye, or the camaraderie of learning good sportsmanship, or the feeling of encouragement from instructors. Either way, Mississippi State University Extension Service 4-H Youth Development Specialist and Shooting Sports Coordinator John Long says the experience is about more than just learning to shoot a gun.
4-H shooting sports is more than just shooting a gun or shooting a bow. We use that as a vehicle to get that young person into the program and to teach youth development. Young people in 4-H shooting sports learn several of the life skills just like they would in any other 4-H program. Such things as self-discipline, responsibility, good sportsmanship, and that's just to name a few.
In addition, Long says the sport can improve focus, coordination, and interpersonal communication skills. Currently, Mississippi 4-H has about 800 volunteer shooting sports instructors ages 21 and up. Instructors must be certified, which involves an intense 2-day training in the discipline or disciplines they wish to teach. These disciplines include air pistol and air rifle, .22 pistol and .22 rifle, shotgun, muzzle loader, and recurve and compound archery. Additionally, Long emphasizes the most important part of being a 4-H shooting sports volunteer instructor.
I always say that you don't have to be an expert in the use of firearms or archery equipment. We're going to give you those skills that you need. But what we ask is that you have a passion for youth and you have a passion to help young people.
In addition to youth development, Long says parents can rest assured that individuals are taught in a safe environment fitting to age and ability.
We don't put a shotgun in the hands of an 8-year-old. We start them out slowly, and as they get older and as they progress, then we move to other disciplines.
Once shooters develop their skills, there are opportunities to compete at the county level and then work all the way up to the national level. In fact, Mississippi 4-H Shooting Sports National Team took 6th place overall at the 2011 National Invitational. Anna, Maggie, and Abby Thompson of Starkville have found their passion in archery and have each competed on the state level in previous years. The girls are happy to share their experiences in 4-H shooting sports and what the program has taught them.
A lot of times with archery, you're with a lot of other people and you're all shooting the same thing and you're all shooting together, and it's more casual. It's not as much of a one person up there doing it by themselves. I'm the oldest girl, so I have to be responsible for all my siblings, and even just going to practices and trying to be a leader and encouraging people when things aren't going right and you're not hitting the target, being able to encourage them and help them even if you can't tell them what they're doing wrong. So there's definitely leadership skills.
You have to be responsible because with the compound bow, you have a lot of things that you have to take care of, and you can't just 4-H is over, stick your bow in the case and leave it, somewhere. You have to, get it out every few months, wax your strings, make sure everything's in the proper place. You have to keep up with your stuff and not lose it. There's a lot of younger people in our county who have just recently started the past year, and I think it's fun just teaching them just pretty much, what I learned 4 years ago, just the basics. And, you have to be careful about being prideful about it. That's another thing I've learned from it. You can't teach them with this attitude of, I know what I'm doing here and you don't.
In the future, Maggie hopes to give back by becoming a certified instructor. Her sister Abby talks about the challenge of shooting recurve in archery and qualifying for the 2011 State Invitational.
The recurve, you have to know a lot more yourself on where to aim because you don't just use sights. You have to train yourself to be the sight. You have to know where to aim, how far above the target, how much below the target you have to aim. So it's a lot to know, and you have to really know a whole lot to do it, and you learn a lot from doing it. And I went to state, and it was even more fun than what I thought. So it was so much fun and it's really helped me with my people skills because I'm not shy, but I'm more of a quiet person. So it really helps being in 4-H, being able to talk to people and get more involved and know how to communicate.
Abby says shooting sports have also brought her closer to her siblings. Her sister Anna says their father Johnny is joining them in the program by becoming a certified instructor himself in 2011.
This year he actually just a couple weeks ago got certified as a archery instructor so that he could be able to instruct us at home, and he would be able to know a lot more about it instead of just learning from us and then knowing. He got first-hand information to be able to help us and instruct us.
The Thompsons say they're grateful for parents, instructors, 4-H agents, and volunteers who work tirelessly at making shooting sports a great experience. An exciting addition to 4-H shooting sports is the reestablishment of hunting into the program. Chad McCormick talks about what was taught at hunting instructor training.
We had, identifying animals, animal tracks, where there's safe shots if you're shooting up a hill or down in a gully, if it's safe to do, and also using the tree stands safely, how to properly put them up, take them down, safety harnesses, just everyday common sense safety stuff.
Following certification, McCormick plans to start a 4-H hunting group for his community. MSU 4-H agent and hunting instructor Lionel Hines explains why he's excited about teaching hunting activities to the new instructors.
I smile about it because I enjoy doing this so much. I mean, it's wonderful. I know when I talk with someone and I teach them what I know about it, I know I've helped someone better their life skills. It teaches them a little more respect and gives them a little self-discipline. It teaches them to teamwork, to rely on others. It just motivates me to know that this has come out for our young people in 4-H.
Another perk to 4-H shooting sports is you don't have to own land, live in the country, or even be an avid hunter to get involved. Mississippi State University Extension Service 4-H leaders and volunteers are dedicated to providing locations and tools young people need to enjoy a sport that's helped shape so many lives. I'm Amy Taylor reporting.
You can watch this story again on our Farm Week website, our Facebook page, or YouTube. The website address is farmweek.msucares.com. It will also have links and phone numbers to help get you started in shooting sports with Mississippi 4-H. Now, if you're not from Mississippi, you need to check with your state's 4-H program. Many are involved in the shooting sports program nationwide. Our website is farmweek.msucares.com. Well, we are at the end of Farm Week for this week. On our show next week, we'll look at the year in review 2011 for Mississippi agriculture.
Mississippi voters elected their first woman Commissioner of Agriculture, and Republicans now control both houses of the Mississippi legislature. It was a weather year as well. Tornadoes killed many.
While most domestic weather issues.
Mississippi landowners are participating in a study of how rural wells may affect the quality of southern groundwater. For the rest of the Farm Week crew, I'm Artis Ford.
And I'm Leighton Spann. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.